The next law I would like to share with you is variation law. If you change queues or traffic lanes, the one you were in will always move faster than the one you are in now.
That's true.
Law of the bath. When body is fully immersed in water, the telephone will ring. Law of close encounters. The probability of meeting someone you know increases dramatically when you are with someone you don't want to be seen with. Our next speaker is giving a back pocket speech, Ronaldo. Ronaldo?
Renato.
Renato?
Yes. It's okay, everybody does it.
Renato? It's now your turn.
Intro is a little too long.
Knock 'em
We
up.
are thrilled that you are sharing your talents with us this evening. We are waiting with bated breath to hear what you have to share with us. Renato.
Fellow Toastmasters and honored guests. I once had a professor in college tell me that there was one thing in life that's constant, and that's change. How many of you welcome and embrace change? Show of hands. Wow, great. Anybody fight it? All right, a couple of brave souls. Now, when it comes to change, I know a thing or two about change. Last year, I dealt with divorce, lack of work, and I was forced to move out of my house. So I want you all to imagine this. Imagine you're faced with divorce. Imagine also you're out of work, and then you have to move out of your house, and you've got a matter of months to move out. What do you think? A little stress?
Yeah.
I've thought a lot about change. And I think change, when we enable it, it's something welcomed, right? It's not stressful, right? Because we want to do something and we're doing it. That's great, right? The problem comes when change is forced upon us. And that's where the stress comes in. So again, imagine yourself faced with divorce, lack of work, and having to move out of your house. Are you going to be stressed? What do you think?
Amen.
Absolutely. To make matters worse, I was torn. I like Florida, I like the warm weather, I hate the cold up north. But my family and friends are up north. My dad is 93 years old. God bless him. And I'd see him every other week. So I'm like, what do I do? What do I do? I have to move out. I've got to find a job. I've got to go through this divorce. What am I going to do? And I think it's just natural when you're faced with that kind of situation. Your mind kind of just runs crazy, right? You're like, what am I going to do? Where am I going to go? Where am I going to live? What job am I going to do? What do I do? Make it stop. I don't want this to happen. But it's going to happen, right? There's no controlling it. And that's where the stress is, when we don't have control of a situation. And our minds just run wild. So I made myself a promise. I said, I'm going to stay for my father, because he's 93 years old, and I'm going to do my best to land a job, and I'll stay in the area. So I remember I interviewed with two companies. I interviewed with a law firm in Philadelphia, and I interviewed with a software company in Horsham. I know a lot of you probably don't know where Horsham is. About 20 minutes from where I was living in Pennsylvania. Well, within a week, I got a rejection email from the law firm, and a week later, I got a notification from the software company saying that, well, we're going to go with an internal candidate. Now, ladies and gentlemen, this was the middle of December. Pressure? My divorce agreement stated that unless there was an earthquake, I had to move out of my house by December 31st, 2015. When I got that final rejection from that company, something just snapped in me. That's it. I'm done. The definition of insanity is what?
Doing the same thing.
Thank you, doing the same thing, expecting different results. So I said, that's it, I'm going. I decided to go to Florida. And then something happened to me. It was kind of like a metamorphosis. All that stress that I was worried about, so I stopped thinking about that, and I started to think or focus on the possibilities. So instead of saying, what am I going to do? Where am I going to go? Where am I going to work? Where am I going to live? I started thinking about, this could be really cool. I'm going to be living in Florida, sunny weather, no more cold and snow. Possibilities of a new career. Maybe I'll meet someone that's a perfect match for me. And I started focusing on that. And suddenly my mind felt so much relieved. I felt so much better. And remind you, I'm still in Pennsylvania. The day I drove down here, it was 23 degrees in Pennsylvania. 23 degrees! I'm like, oh my God, it's too cold. I'm sick of this weather. But I felt a warmth coming over me because I was thinking about my future and the possibilities. And I started thinking about where am I going to live. I started picturing being close to the beach, the sunny, warm weather. I thought about a new career. I thought about meeting someone really nice. How great would it be to find my perfect match down in Florida I could do things with, have fun with. And so I began thinking that this is a reboot, a complete reboot, a clean slate, new environment, new job, and hopefully I'll meet someone new. And once I did that, I felt so much better and I felt so much less stressed. So I think when things are out of our control, when change comes but it's not of our doing, I think it's just natural for us to, what? Push back, right? Or start to stress. And we start thinking about all the bad things, right? What am I going to do? What's going to happen here? What about this job? I mean, am I going to be out of work? Where am I going to get another job? Where am I going to go? Where am I going to do? How much money am I going to make? Don't do that. Instead of worrying about these things, think about the possibilities. And that's what I did. And the second I started doing that, I felt so much better, so much relief, and so much happier. So when change comes, and it may not be the change that you want, don't stress over it. Don't focus on the negative, but focus on the positive. Think about the possibilities.